Raymond, do you want to comment on this? Raymond, Vickery, the fact of the matter is that all of these points that both David as well as Adit are making as far as rules in a country are concerned, when you get a citizenship of a country, when you own that green card, when you have your visa approved, there are certain conditions. There are no free lunches, and therefore you have to follow the rules and regulations. The Biden administration knew that Hamas is a designated terror group, yet they allowed the kind of protest that happened across university campuses, college campuses, supporting what happened to Israel.
Well, there's a difference between protesting on a campus and actually committing something that would get you deported after you've been accepted and have a clean record. The idea, yes, the Biden administration allowed constitutionally protected protests. If the case is so open and shut as being said against one or more individuals, why not go through the due process proceeding, as opposed to just knocking on the door, putting them in handcuffs and hauling them away? There's the old saying, when they came for the Jews, I wasn't a Jew, and so I didn't worry about that. And then they came for those who were opposed, and I wasn't for that. But then they came for me, and there was nobody left to say anything on my behalf. So what we have had in the United States, in India, in other great democracies, is due process and rule of law. The essence of civilization is to be able to resolve these things without violence. This is not the way in which to proceed. It's not a way in which the laws of the United States have been set up, and I predict, and it's already happening, that the judicial branch is saying, listen, that's not the way in which a great democracy is supposed to operate. Now, that having been said, sure, we want to do everything we can within the law and within constitutional rights to be able to fight terrorism, and U.S. and India have cooperated on that. But that doesn't mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater and just say, well, the knock on the door, that was a guy I didn't like and seemed to be a bad guy, and some bureaucrat decided he was a bad guy, and so we'll throw him in chains and get him out of here. That's not the way to proceed in a great democracy.
Okay, let me get David Sofair to respond to you, Raymond Vickery. David Sofair, you want to respond to what Raymond Vickery is saying? One, that it's really out of convenience that certain cases are being deported or they're being arrested. Two, what happened on college and university campuses were just words, were protests. They were not translating into real action.
Look, so we have to stay focused here, right? There's not been a mass student deportation, and this is a false narrative saying that protesters are being targeted. We're not targeting any protesters. We are targeting organized criminals and terrorists in regards to Badar Khan. We're not coming after a specific group. So what you're saying is a misleading narrative, and we are focused today on Badar Khan, who is it doesn't matter where he's from, he's got links to Hamas, which is a terrorist group, and senior ones, and so that is a threat to democracy in Washington, D.C. I take this very personally because I live here. So now you have a terrorist who's just down the street. Okay, so now he is getting due process. He's being questioned, he's being detained, he has rights to a lawyer and all that kind of stuff. So he does have his due process. We're not going after Trinidad de Agua. Okay, that's another organized group, which is a organized gang. We're deporting them as well. These should be things that Democrats and Republicans should come together on, because we are making America safe again. So I take this very personally. And you can't obstruct people during protests. That's called violent protests. So we're not taking away anybody's rights. We're not taking away human rights. We are restoring democracy, and we're making America a safer place.
So, David, if tomorrow a certain group of students stand up in college campuses and protest against, say, one of Donald Trump's policies, it's not, violating any constitutional law. Would Donald Trump's administration and would Trump himself allow that?
Of course he would, and he's allowing it every single day. We have freedom of speech. Now with Badar Khan, this is not a freedom of speech person. He is with senior Hamas advisors. So we don't know. We're finding out now, we're gathering intel. We don't know. He could be planning an attack. He could be, we're not sure. So we're figuring that out now. At the moment, he's just detained, and he can be rendered deportable because the last time I checked, terrorism is a crime. So this has nothing to do with students protesting or freedom of speech. Let's be very clear on this. And so we can't conflate the two. This is about American safety and global safety as well. India and the United States are the two biggest democracies in the world, and we've had a strategic partner rooting out terrorism for a long time now. So let's be clear on that.
Okay. Adit, before I wrap up, quickly a question to you. Then as far as freedom of expression is concerned, yes, it has its gray areas. Yes, it has been misused as well. But on college campuses where you have young crowds who are passionate about subjects, how do you then regulate?
So Shreya, I think we need to de-hyphenate between the two. The de-hyphenation is basically between pro-Palestinian protest, which is basically you're protesting for securing and saving the lives of the millions of Palestinians, and the other bit is obviously protesting to ensure that you can patronize and platform Hamas federal agenda, and that's what we see happening from our prison. The argument can be made that they came for the Jews first, and I wasn't a Jew, and then so on. But the counter argument to that is also that one of these characters could well be planning a terror attack. Then what? So you've seen world over since 9/11 that you had suspects on your terror list, but you failed to take preventive measures because of the political correctness, because you wanted to hide behind the garb of multiculturalism, and that hurt the collective society at large. So I don't see anything wrong in this particular scenario because you have the evidence available at your disposal. His social media speaks about, the kind of school of thought that he actually comes from. And there is absolutely nothing wrong in taking those preventive measures. Let the due process be for him. Let the ball be in his court to prove that, he is not what the government basically is prescribing him to be, rather than being the opposite side of things.
Yeah, okay.
So that's where I would like to leave it, Shreya.
Yeah, I think the key point here is due process should be followed, whether it's those who are supporting Hamas and terror groups like Hamas, or whether there are cases where they're saying that they're being targeted, and there are several cases that have come to the fore where no reason has been given by the authorities. Those need to be checked as well. But I'll leave it here. Thank you very much to all of you gentlemen, David Sofair, Raymond Vickery and Adit, for joining us on Global Mirror and sharing your perspective.